Long ago, giants walked through the stories of native people from the coast to the mountains and beyond. Some tales tell of creatures covered in hair, walking upright, who hide among the trees. Others of whistling night creatures who steal the unwary from their beds.
So I recently saw a video by Trey the Explainer about Sasquatch and Native American cultures, and I want to preface this by saying that I am actually a fan of Trey's work, and I commend the work that he put into making his video. But that being said, I have many problems with it, and I want to talk about them in this video. Trey goes into detail on several native stories, and explains why a lot of them do not fit the modern notion of Sasquatch. He basically argues that by taking a closer look into these stories, that anyone can tell that they have no relation to the modern Sasquatch stories. And that we shouldn't take the word of Bigfoot proponents, who are outsiders to the culture. I strongly support this approach, as it allows native voices to stand on their own without having any outside influence, potentially taking precedence. However, I feel that Trey's biggest mistake in his video is that he did not take his own advice entirely. Trey is strongly inspired, and even references Dr. Donald Prothero's book, Abominable Science. Dr. Prothero is a qualified paleontologist, and his expertise should not be questioned when it comes to his examination of prehistoric cryptids like Nessie or Mokele Mbembe. However, Prothero is not a cultural anthropologist, and is not in any way an expert in Native American traditions, nor is he a member of any tribe or nation. Prothero accuses Bigfoot proponents of culturally appropriating native stories to suit their own claims, but in the same breath, he reduces Zuniqua, the basket woman of Kwakwaka'wakw tradition, to the native version of Baba Yaga, a European creation. This claim entirely ignores the countless Kwakwaka'wakw who consider Zuniqua and Sasquatch to be one and the same. Not to mention, it lacks self-awareness. Trey has the best intentions when he retells native stories, and I think he did a great job in dispelling a lot of misconceptions about native Bigfoot claims, particularly in criticizing some of Kathy Strain's overzealous work. Native voices have long been overlooked by both proponents and skeptics, and it's time for that to come to an end. And I feel like Trey could have done a bit better listening to his own advice here. The following clip is in regards to a museum exhibit done with Native Americans at the forefront, telling their own stories on Bigfoot. Many of the beings mentioned in Trey's video, like Slapu, Zuniqua, and Stick Indians, are included.
Museum Director Patricia Cosgrove presents 4 of the Northwest's most intriguing crypto creatures through stories,
also from Vancouver Island,
photographs and images based on historical descriptions, and maps of their stomping grounds.
You kind of get some chills when you think, oh, they talked about pretty much the same thing a long distance apart.
You'll also spot the creature's impact on pop culture, from comic books to t-shirts. A definitive look at a mystery with ancient roots, Sasquatch.
Ancient native perspectives on the mysterious beings of the woods.
Aside from the modern Yokut representative, featured in Trey's video, there really aren't any native voices featured in it, let alone any that would readily oppose his ultimate conclusion. The following clips are of Tlaloquiat and Sishat First Nations people talking about their beliefs and personal sightings of Sasquatch. I feel it's important to note that these cultures were not mentioned in Trey's video, nor are they included in a spreadsheet that he made accompanying it.
Yeah, we were told about them, and to this day I still believe they are around. Even way before we ever had streetlights in our villages, we often heard about these big Sasquatch.
In our language, Nutronif, we pronounce it Pukmis. Then we got the Coast Salish and Haida Gwaii, Buckwis, and Zuniqua. Zuniqua is the female.
Different names, different traditions, but all describing a creature that to those who believe is a revered part of the world.
We don't take it lightly to have people make fun of these kind of things, because it's in our teachings we accept what comes to us.
It's a shame that his video, dismissing Sasquatch and native cultures, is the top result you'll get when you look up native Bigfoot on YouTube, and not those of indigenous peoples themselves. Trey also failed to mention some beings that are without a doubt accepted by indigenous cultures as being synonymous with Bigfoot or Sasquatch. The best example of this is the Kichisabe of the Ojibwe people. Kichisabe is one of the 7 sacred grandfather teachers who teaches the Ojibwe to be honest. The correlation between Sabe and Bigfoot is not up for debate, as it's openly spoken about by many Ojibwe. I will let them speak for themselves.
Sometimes it takes a lot of courage to listen to your heart and to your spirit as it's telling you what to do, even when your mind tells you something else. We all need courage to do the right thing. After the bear left, the young boy was startled by a large noise. Something was stomping through the bush, and it was getting louder. The boy stood on guard as the treetops swayed. Whatever it was getting closer. Then silence. The only sound that the boy could hear was the sound of something breathing. Then he noticed a pair of eyes glowing in the darkness. Using all his courage, the boy stepped towards them. Slowly, a towering being covered in hair emerged from the bush. The boy froze as this massive human-like creature stood over him.
Young man, I bring you the law of honesty. To be honest is to be someone who is trusted and who speaks with truth. To never lie and always be genuine. Say what you mean what you say, and always stay true to your values.
Long ago, there was a giant called Kichisabe. You may know him as Bigfoot or Sasquatch. The Sabe teaches us to never lie or gossip. Be honest with yourself and others. Speak from your heart and be true to your word.
I feel I should also mention that a figure as important as Kichisabe is also not included in Trey's video, nor in his aforementioned spreadsheet. My biggest complaint with Trey's video is that aside from its outsider skepticism, is that it is by far the most viewed video on the native Sasquatch topic on this platform. It has more views than all of the clips I have included here combined. Native voices that advocate for Sasquatch in their cultural traditions are being vastly overshadowed, and there's a strong possibility that people will see his video and make up their minds before ever hearing from any native voices on the matter. I acknowledge that many Sasquatch proponents do impose their own views onto native cultures, but skeptics are no better if all they offer is the same. Museum exhibits sometimes pop up about this topic, and often feature indigenous input. The previously mentioned museum exhibit is an example of this, but a more recent example is the Sensing Sasquatch exhibit done by the High Desert Museum in collaboration with native artists and scholars. If I had to sum up my thoughts on this whole debate, it would be to please let indigenous people speak for themselves about their beliefs on these enigmatic creatures of the woods. And that goes to both proponents and to skeptics. Thank you for watching.